Awe came upon everyone because many wonders and signs were being done by the apostles. All who believed were together and had all things in common. They would sell their possessions and goods and distribute the proceeds to all, as any had need. Day by day, as they spent much time together in the temple, they broke bread at home and ate their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having the goodwill of all the people. Day by day, the Lord added to their number those who were being saved.
Well, today is everybody's favorite Sunday of the year. It's Stewardship Sunday. It's the Sunday I ask you for money. Now, I'm not embarrassed to ask you for money. Well, maybe a little, because some of that money goes to pay my salary. I'm a little embarrassed about that. But I have to tell you, I do this, I continue to do this because I enjoy it, and also because I believe in the ministry of this place. So I'm not very embarrassed to ask you for money, because I really believe it's going for a good cause. What I am embarrassed about is this mustache. That's embarrassing. It's said that God counts the very hairs on our heads. It wouldn't take her very long, or to use both hands to count the hairs in this mustache. Anyway, I do worry, though, that I might make you feel bad or guilty. That's the last thing I want. Giving money is a spiritual practice, and you should feel good about it. You know, in that way, giving money is like taking a vacation or like singing. If it doesn't make you feel good, you're not doing it right. And the reason it might not make you feel good is, for example, if you're doing it out of a sense of obligation or guilt, even worse. Although, you know, the Passive Supper, we don't mind using a little guilt for that. But the best motivations for giving are a sense of thankfulness. We give because we understand how much has been given to us, and also a genuine desire to help others. Those are the reasons to give. So give to feel good, to help yourself and others. Give because it's good for the soul. Give because you want to pay it back or pay it forward. An article in this month's United Church Observer just came out this week, quotes Nellie McClung, the great prairie suffragette and social activist. She said, "No set of laws can bring peace to a land of grabbers." A land of grabbers. Wow. To be a giver is to say no to the grabbers. To be a giver is to say no to mindless consumerism. No to a way of life that values spending and having and getting and wasting. Giving says yes to enough and no to never enough. Yes to plenty and no to scarcity. Giving says yes to life and to the Spirit and to our spiritual lives. So, let's get specific here. Let's talk about giving to St. Martin's United Church and what we spend our money on in this place. I think that's worth knowing. Here's what an expense sheet usually looks like. I didn't want to use our budgeted numbers for this year, because a budget's just a guess, really. I wanted to use real numbers, so these are our real numbers from last year. And this is just the property part of our budget. And you can see it's the stuff you expect, maintenance and supplies and electricity and water and heat and insurance and snow, all that kind of stuff. I want you to know that when you put money on the offering plate, none of it goes to the building. This is boring stuff. You know, unless you're on the property committee, and unless you don't have any heat or water or electricity, but assuming that we do, this is pretty boring stuff. And none of what you give goes to that, because the building pays for itself in this place. If we can just see the next slide, Murray. There's our expenses. Last year, $46,000 for the property. That year, we also brought in rental income from our contract with Alerces, Spanish language school in the basement, also our other rentals, and the garage sale, you know, which we can't have without the building. Cleared $19,000. So for a total of $46,000. So the building pays for itself. So the money that you put on the offering plate all goes to the ministry of this place, not to the water bill. Okay, so what does that look like? There's the whole pie. Without the property expenses put in there, we spent $402,000 last year. That's about $1,100 a day, or $7,700 a week. And that's every day and every week around the year, whether you're here or not. And so that's one of the reasons we encourage people to think about your giving on an annual basis. Instead of saying, I'm going to put $20 on the plate every time I come to church, say to yourself, no, I'm going to give $1,000 to the church this year. And then do that either through PAR or through post-dated checks or some way that makes sure that you live up to your commitment in that way. It's good for you and it's good for the church as well. So that much. And I divided it up. Now when you do this kind of thing, you're supposed to divide it up into 5 slices of pie, or maybe 6 at the most. I couldn't do that. This is such a busy church. We do so much here, I couldn't narrow down our ministries to 5 or 6. I had to have 7. So I want to just take a minute to talk about each of these ministry streams that you support with your offerings in this congregation. So the first one, first of all, let's just see the next one. For every $100 you give to St. Martin's, this is how we spend it. $10 of it goes to the Mission and Service Fund. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. $10 goes to our work with the wider church, $12.30 to our ministry with children, $14.20 to pastoral care, $17.20 to Christian development, $17.70 to outreach, and $18.60 to worship. And you think to yourself, almost 20% for a Sunday service? Really? But I can tell you that if this were a small congregation, a small rural congregation, that figure for worship would be closer to 50 or 60%. Because we're a large, thriving congregation, we have all this stuff going on, it kind of spreads out, and the worship component becomes smaller than it is in many churches. So that's how your $100 gets spent. Now let's look at some of these individually. The Mission and Service Fund, you heard Ken say it's a national fund. It's a $30 million a year fund. We contribute about $40,000 to that out of this congregation, which is pretty good, just very good actually. And what is it spent on? To support 7 theological schools, including St. Andrew's College here in Saskatoon, 2 education centers, one in BC and one in Ontario, 38 chaplaincies, including the hospital and university chaplaincies in Saskatoon. 74 community ministries across the country, including integrated community ministries that works in the core of our downtown area here. 101 global partners, and you hear about them in the Minutes for Mission that are read twice a month here. Hear their stories. Also, I put in 2 items that are quite particular to this congregation. Rendezvous and Go project. A couple of years ago, 7 people from our congregation went to Rendezvous, and we've so far sent 6 young people to the Go project in Halifax and Vancouver and Toronto. This year, the Go project is coming to Saskatoon. And so this year we're supporting, helping to support the Go project by having a whole bunch of young people, I don't know how many, do we know? Where's Keith? He's downstairs with the youth. Having a bunch of young people come and sleep. They'll be camped out in our church this summer. So that's what some of what our $10 gets us. Our work with the wider church. You may know that all 3 of your ministers here are required to spend some of their time working with the wider church, up to 10% of our time. So I put up to 10% of our salaries in this. What does that get? And there's also have 4 lay representatives. Kathy Anderson, Frank Pike, Nancy Pike, and Jerry Lynn Robertson are our lay representatives. We have a partnership with Nutana Park Mennonite Church. We reach out to them. They join with us in the Lenten breakfast chapel services, Wednesday mornings at 7:15, I think, during Lent. Hospital chaplaincies. Our presbytery here supports Kathy Coates, for example, who came here and spoke a while ago. Also, the university chaplain, David Kim Cragg, is supported. The Moderators Advisory Committee. You remember that Jordan Cantwell from Saskatoon was elected moderator of the United Church of Canada. Tracy Merton has been appointed the chairperson of her advisory committee. So that's another way our congregation connects with the wider church. Korean Partnership and Exchange. People just got back from Korea. Welcome back! We are at Riverbend Presbytery is in partnership with Incheon Presbytery in the Republic of South Korea. They've come here, now we've gone there. I understand there's a youth exchange is the next thing that's going to happen, maybe as early as this fall. Very exciting. We're part of all of that as part of our work with the wider church. Our children's ministry, it's a focus of our overall ministry in this congregation. It includes Bible Adventures, Sunday school, where they are downstairs right now. Every kid gets a coloring page if they want every Sunday. Vacation Bible School, at a very successful Vacation Bible School this summer. Professional Development Day program. You heard Keith talk about that and saw the video that they made on Friday. Little Voices United. What a wonderful children's choir we have. The Faith Friends program, which happens around Easter, making intergenerational relationships that sometimes are years, last for years, as they sit with each other in church and other things. And birthday cards. Did you know that every kid on our list gets a birthday card from St. Martin's United Church? Do you know that? We reach out to children as much as we can. Pastoral care. Includes funerals and weddings. In this congregation, we average about 12 funerals and 4 weddings a year. I am delighted to report to you that this year we are way behind on funerals and ahead on weddings. Hospital and home visits. I try to get to the hospital every week. I got to 1 hospital this week. Last week I got to 3, just depending on who's in. See people in their homes when I can, when we can, all of us do that. The Lay Pastoral Visitors Program, that's a group of volunteers who visit our shut-ins, who maintain a relationship with people who are unable to get out of their homes. Great work that they do. The ministry by phone, which just wrapped up. We contact everybody on our list twice a year. Home communion. 4 or 5 times a year, we take communion to people who can't get here, and take an afternoon and go to 8 or 9 different homes. Cards. Jerry Janow sends cards, sends sympathy cards and get well cards and thinking of you cards. If you know someone who could use a little card from St. Martin's, let us know and we'll make that happen. And of course, the prayer shawl ministry. I have to say that when the prayer shawl ministry was suggested to me, I said, well, that's a good idea. I had no idea how good an idea, how great an idea that is. It's been a significant part of our ministry here of late. Lots of stuff going on in pastoral care. Another part of our ministry here is Christian development. Stations of Faith at Lent and sometimes at Advent. The Affirm Action Group comes under this. Bible studies, video series, the talent shows we have with kids, confirmation classes, family camp during the summer, the Quest Mexico program where young people from our congregation are going to Cuernavaca, Mexico in, I believe it's April this year, next year, this coming April, for a cross-cultural experience. The free Christmas party you heard about a week from Saturday, various workshops that CE puts on. There's a yoga workshop a while ago, a meditation workshop with painting, all those kinds of things. Christian development. This is the real busy one here, the outreach. It thrills me that we, aside from worship, this is the one we spend most of your money on. That we support the 10 by 10 art project. Our refugee program is alive and well and busy. We donate to Habitat for Humanity and some other causes like that. The Essential Voices program, that's a program where Melina Torrance is our administrative assistant. And she comes here and works with us on Friday mornings. And as part of that, it's a program through ICM. And as part of that, she gets to be exposed to us and to a normal working environment. where she can learn and practice some skills. And we get to be exposed to her and the way she lives. Now, Melina is a person who lives in poverty in this city. When I say poverty, I really mean poverty. She has a home now. She's living in a house now, but she's just spent a couple of months living out of her van. And living on people's couches and stuff. So it's an education. Having coffee on Friday morning is an education. If you have a chance to stop by for coffee and get educated by Melina about what it's like to live in poverty in this city, it's a great program. The community garden reaches out to people in our neighborhood. The Good Food Box does the same. The speakers' luncheons, we had one a little while ago on transgendered kids, and the one before that was on the food bank. What am I missing here? ICM Coffee Time. That's ICM again. They open their doors on Wednesday mornings to street people to let them come in, get a coffee and a muffin, and a chance to sit in a warm place and talk and meet some people from churches around the city. We participate in that. Support of Lighthouse last February. Well, no, let me say first, that's in addition to that $17.70 out of every $100 you give, we also raised almost $10,000 extra for our refugees. Last February, we did the coldest night of the year and raised another more than $4,000 for Lighthouse. We have the retiring offering, which last year raised more than $6,000, which was then matched dollar for dollar by Potash Corp. So we gave $12,000 to the food bank. The Advent tree is I don't know what it is this year, it's usually a sock and mitten tree or something. The coats that we're getting for AIDS Saskatoon, all that stuff is in addition to the stuff we spend on that $17.70. So congratulations to you for your generosity. Really a marvelous congregation. You do good work. And finally, we get to the worship component. We put on more than 100 services a year. I get tired just thinking about that. More than 100 individual services every year. We're open 52 Sundays a year. We're open on Sundays in this place. 52 times a year. I do the best I can to provide worship that is uplifting and engaging and thoughtful and sometimes challenging. Also part of that, 52 story times every year with the kids. Music, oh man, the music we have in this place. We have a fabulous music program in this place. With the Sanctuary Choir at 9:30, the contemporary singers at this service, band together twice a month, the Fellowship Bells, Little Voices United, great music in this place. And also great imagery. Now, thousands of PowerPoint slides, maybe tens of thousands of PowerPoint slides every year. Now, I'm responsible for this week's, but I don't get to other churches as often as I would like, because I'm busy on Sunday mornings. But when I do get to other churches, I pay attention to their imagery stuff, and I have never seen another congregation that does as well as we do at that. And that's Keith. That's Keith. He bears the brunt of that and does a fabulous job of it. What did I say? Music, YouTube channel. Oh, I cringe when I go to watch it, but I make myself every once in a while just to see what bad habits I have. We put the sermon time on a YouTube channel so that people who are not here can catch up on what's going on. Give more, you people out there? No. Communion services 10 times a year at least, 11 or 12 times a year. Pulpit exchange, I mentioned that. We go to 4 different seniors' homes and provide occasional services for them. Lots of stuff happening in a worship component. So, again, this is what it looks like. We do a lot, and we divide it up in that kind of way. And all of your offerings go to the ministry of this place. Now, am I done with? I was going to say something else. What's next, Murray? Okay, we're back to this. So, giving is good. and among all the worthy causes there are, and I know there are many worthy causes that we would all like to give to, I think that St. Martin's is good value for your money. That just leaves us the question, how much should we give? I can tell you that 275 families currently contribute to St. Martin's, and that they give an average of about $26 a week, or $112 a month. To balance our books, we need to get that $26 a week up to $28 a week, or $122 a month. And that's average, that average giving of 26. That's an average. Some give more, some give less. That's what average is, you know. Half the people you meet are above average. Half the people you meet are below average. I'm going to let you decide how average you are. Only you know your financial situation. And I know that not everyone can afford to give as much as they would like to. And we don't expect anyone to do what we heard about in today's reading from the book of Acts. When the early church, if you'll remember, that everybody sold all their stuff, they sold all their possessions and pooled all the money, and whoever had a need could withdraw from that pool. And when you hear that reading, you remember that Karl Marx was a theology student before he studied economics. Those ideas don't come from nowhere. I chose that reading this morning because it clearly shows that conversation about money in church is as old as church itself. It goes all the way back. There's nothing wrong with talking about money. But I will close by saying two things. First of all, I'll remind you what Jesus said. Of those to whom much has been given, much is expected. And secondly, I will say that I have never heard from anyone that they regretted giving more. No one has ever told me that that was a mistake to give more. So please, if for no other reason than your own spiritual growth, your own spiritual benefit, give, and give generously, and give cheerfully. Amen. As we leave this place, let us go with the blessing of God. Let us go and walk in peace from this place. Walk with a light that shines for ourselves and for others. Go now, and may the grace of God go with you all. Amen.